HeyImAmethyst here. For those who are returning, welcome back to another video on my channel. And for those who are new here, welcome! Before I get into the topic of this video, I just want to put out a little notice that for this video, I don't know if it's going to be the case for the rest of the videos that I might put out depending on how quickly I get this problem fixed, but I mentioned this in the last video that I posted in text, but I've been having some drive issues. I thought it was like DaVinci Resolve causing issues because it seemed like it would act up the worst when I had DaVinci Resolve working open, but it seems like one of my drives seems to be having an issue. It seems to be having a fit. So I'm in the process of trying to back up my files and, you know, I guess formatting my drive again and doing the drive fixes. So until I can get that sorted, my 𝗂𝗶𝗃 will be hidden. I won't be doing some edits might be a little bit weird because DaVinci Resolve is too powerful to just use as an editing program as of the moment. I thought upgrading to DaVinci Resolve would solve my issues, but it turns out that DaVinci Resolve, the version 20 of it, is resource intensive, and it seems like a lot of people have been having issues with the latest version of DaVinci Resolve. So I had to download another video editing software called CapCut. I mean, it's been a while since I've used CapCut. I have used it before, years ago, but I switched over from that to DaVinci Resolve because DaVinci Resolve had the stuff that I needed to edit my videos. But I'm going back to CapCut for the time being until I can get this issue resolved. So there will be no 𝗂𝗂𝗶𝗃. Some edits might be weird. I might have to resort to lazy editing or just showing stuff on the screen so that I don't have to edit too much because things are broken. Okay, so things are broken. So I terribly apologize if parts of this video might be scuffed or anything like that. I'll try my best to see if I can make it as entertaining as I can, but I can't guarantee that, so I deeply apologize in advance. So, with that notice out of the way, I guess I'll go into what I want to talk about for this video. So, what I wanted to talk about in this video was one of my favorite games, a game called Mages of Mystralia. And if some of you guys might be already aware that I mentioned this game in streams and stuff like that. For my second Animal Crossing island idea, I had the idea to base my island off of Mages of Mystralia because I love Mages of Mystralia so much. I still have yet to finish the island because Animal Crossing low-key burnt me out. I finished my first island and then I was done with Animal Crossing New Horizons. And the 3.0 update didn't really help me get back into it, so that island will probably remain unfinished for a while. But Mages of Mystralia is one of my favorite games to play. I first found the game while I was still in high school. I believe I was in 10th grade when I found it. I found it through an ad while I was browsing on Twitch, and that's how I found it. At the time, I didn't have any money to pay for stuff because, I didn't have a job. I didn't get an allowance, so at the time I had to, find it through unofficial means in order to play the game, and I loved the game. And when I had the means to earn my own money, when I had the opportunity, I ended up buying the game officially and buying the soundtrack. And I really love the game. I love the soundtrack. I love a lot of stuff about it. It's not perfect. There are some things that I find that are an issue with the game, but I really love the game. So, you all might be wondering, well, what is Mages of Mystralia about? Why do you love it so much? And the game Mages of Mystralia, it was by the company 𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃 Games. Don't know if I am pronouncing that correctly, but it is a game about a girl named Zia, and she finds out that she is made by accident. She accidentally burns her house down, and I don't know if it's implied that her family members die or whatever, or they abandoned her. I don't know if that's the case, but apparently, basically, she accidentally sets her house on fire through her magic. She gets kicked out of her village, and she gets taken in by an older mage, and he teaches her magic. He sends her on her way to meet the rest of the mages, and to learn how to become a mage. um, and she meets this like talking spell book, and she learns new spells from that spell book, and then she goes on her way to meet the rest of the mages and everything. And essentially, she just learns what it means to be a mage, and on her journey, of like doing tasks, there's like a catastrophe that happens, like an eclipse that happens, and then she goes on this journey to trying to figure out why the eclipse is happening and how to stop it. And it's really fun. I like the gameplay mechanics. I like the soundtrack. I love the art style, just everything about it. And as you know me, I love magic. I love witches. I love wizards. I love all of that, whimsical, magical stuff. So, of course, I was going to be interested in this game from the get go. So, yeah, that's what essentially this game is about, and why I love the game so much. I replayed it a couple of times, and I ended up buying it on my laptop, and eventually it came out on Switch, and I bought it on Switch. So yeah, I forget if it's on other platforms besides PC or Switch, but that's all the platforms that I've played it on. But yeah, so after I finished the game for the first time, and look at videos on YouTube on how to like 100% the game, um, and updates, because the way that at least the updated version ended, the ending was set up in a way where there's going to be more to the series, and there might be like a sequel of some sort. And I was super excited because I wanted to learn more about what happened at the end, and seek what happens next on Zia's journey, because the ending was kind of just like on a cliffhanger if type sort. Some things were left unresolved. So yeah, I was like excited to see more. The some people in the community were excited to see more, and I was kind of just waiting, occasionally checking for like updates over the years to see what the company's plans are, the game studio behind Mages of Australia. I will look on their website, I will look on their Twitter, I would see if maybe there is some other information out somewhere else, you know. And, while I was waiting, I managed to find a comic uh, for Mages of Australia that detailed the events that happened before the game. So this is the comic that detailed the events before the previous game. Um, at one point, before they started restructuring their website, you were able to read this for free on their websites. Let me So yeah, this link that would originally take you to the comic, it no longer works. So, but they do have like, um, it seems like while trying to search for this originally, because I thought they still had it on their website, but it turns out they didn't. I was managed to find this because they were in collaboration with Dark Horse, so you can buy it. Maybe on Barnes and Noble on Amazon. Um, yeah, I do see it on Amazon, so you can buy the paperback or you can buy it on Kingdom. I'll probably buy this at some point because I didn't know they had like a paperback version of this comic. But I was able to still find like free versions of this comic like right here. Um, I don't know why they took it off their website because they had it for free before, but if I would um prefer, like, I would encourage that you actually go and buy this comic, and support the developers, because they did a really good job with the first game, and they did a really good job with the comic, because it answers, it pretty much tells the story of, like what happened before the first game, like I said, and some characters that you would recognize in the game, you would see them come up in here, and I would really recommend it. But yeah, the comic, I read the comic and it was really fun. And while I found out about the comic and everything, and was just waiting for the second game, I managed to find a Reddit thing that pretty much like leaked information that the company behind the game was like in the process of, like, developing the second game. So I was really excited about that. And then, while I was checking back on their website, I would see the changes that they were making. And then eventually they made some posts, saying, there's something big coming. And I was like excited because, oh, this must be the second game. And then eventually they announced the second game, and I was super excited. And then they released the trailer for the game, and I was super duper excited. And then they announced play tests, and I was like, "Ooh, it's gonna come! It's gonna come!" So I was really hyped for the game. I missed the games. I think it was like a live stream where I forget what it was called, but like eventually, because like there were going to like announce it live on like one of the gaming events where they like announce like gaming trailers and announce games that are coming up, and I missed that because I didn't know which gaming thing that they were going to appear in. And I missed that, but I managed to catch the trailer after the fact. um so yeah. And after, they announced the play tests and that was, underway, I don't know if it was under the same Reddit post where I found the leak or if that was from somewhere else, but a commenter commented that they did the play test and they were disappointed because it was basically Hades. And I was like, huh? No, that can't be right. Huh? Hades? The popular game Hades, the all-time, um world, beloved game, roguelike game Hades, that Hades, like so I was like, like, are you sure this is like this game Hades? Like, like I wasn't sure if they were just exaggerating or not. And you can't always take things online with a grain of salt. So I just was like, I'm gonna wait till the game releases and see what that's all about, you know. And they announced the demo. And I saw them announce the demo and I downloaded it, and then ADHD kicked in and I forgot about it, forgot to like test it out and everything. So I managed to test out the game, the demo, a few days ago to see if, this just like Hades game claim was true. And, you know, I was very disappointed in what the game basically is. So, before I delve into my issues with the second game, I'm just going to showcase the first game because, in order for me to properly explain why I'm so disappointed and angry at the delivery of the second game, what they're trying to do with the second game, I have to show off the first game. This is what the first game looks like. So let me just turn up the device, the thing. Um, I am not entirely sure if you can hear that, but I will hopefully fix that in editing. This is what the game is essentially, like, you have like the distinct cartoony, like, um, art style, and then you have like, the sound effects are really nice, um, all right, so I will just go on to adventure. You can see I already have a save. I didn't manage to complete it. I only had 32%, because ADHD and busy with stuff. So I'll just jump into the game and I'll just show you what it's like. Now, as you can see with the loading screen, the loading screens are kind of like a bit long for my taste, but you know, it's fine. You can see like the little artwork that they have and the little descriptions. Like you can tell already that they put a lot of love and care into like building out the world for this game and building the UI. I love the UI so much. The UI and the sound effects. Um, for a portion I was customizing my Windows computer, I actually extracted the sound effects from the game and put it in for like the different sound effects for like the computer. So like the different like sounds that the Windows would make if you would plug in stuff or if you're trying to run things as administrator and stuff like that, I would replace the sounds with the sounds from this game. So that's how much I love the sound effects. But moving on, so as you can see, this is what the game looks like. Now, this is what the art style is like, and as you can see, you have the the art style, and yeah, it's as the first game is essentially like a Zelda-like game. So you would have your dungeons, you would have your puzzles, and enemies to fight, you know, stuff to break. So this game's Zelda pots. This is just barrels. So yeah, now in this game, one of my favorite parts about this game, aside from the soundtrack, aside from, you know, let me turn this down. You know, aside from the soundtrack, aside from the art style and the sound effects and everything, one of the favorite parts about this game is its spell system. So if you guys have remember my Stardew Valley mod where I list the amount where I missed the mods and the games that I really, you know, liked, you know, that inspired me to make, you know, the port for Stardew Valley, you know, um was, you know, I mentioned Mages of Mystralia because like with Ars Novu and like with Ars Magica 2, it allows you to put different spell components together to build a spell. So, my thing is kind of like, alright, so, nope, right. So this is essentially what you would be doing when you're creating spells in this game. So you would have your your main spell element types, and here you would have behaviors, augments, and triggers. Now I haven't unlocked them yet because I haven't, you know, gone through the save further enough to see what those do, but at least this trigger essentially is when you place this rune down on your spell, you're able to like attach one of the spells that you've already created to it, and it essentially creates like you can essentially create a chain of spells using trigger. So yeah, this one will have like the mastery, so that's mastery. This changed how your spell moves, so if you attach right to like a move spell, so your move component, so I'll just use this one. So if you attach this right to your move spell, it'll move right. And if you remove this move spell, your fireball would essentially just stand in place. So yeah, yeah, and then also yeah, this is one of the triggers. So with impact, this would cast one of your other spells in addition to the spell once this spell is like when it hits something. So I will just, oops, let me place that down. Oops, hold on. I'm not used to, okay, so if I remember correctly, yes. So yeah, so essentially, so with this, if I, lightning. So with this like my lightning spell, one of my lightning spells explodes when it hits something. So essentially, I attach that spell to my fire moving fireball spell so that it explodes. So I'm essentially able to cast my fireball, and when it hits something, it does the electrical boom thing. So that's one of my favorite things about this is you really have creativity like over what your spells do. Um so in the example of my cryo spell, my ice spell, in the game you start with this ice, but later on you get the ability to change the element of your spells. So if you changed this to like an earth spell, instead of ice, you would just make a wall of rock, essentially. And that's pretty cool. Um, and this one's like the shield. This one's ZR, I believe. Right? Yeah, so with this one, this creates a shield, but if you attach move to it, so if I go here, nope. Oh, so I already have it, it seems. So if I go here, and I attach move to it, it essentially moves me forward. Yeah, so instead of a shield, I kind of like dash. However, one of the criticisms that um, other people have pointed out, as well as I would give, is that the movement is a little bit wonky. So when you're doing certain spells and you're trying to like do sharp terms like really quickly, it can be very difficult. I Yeah, it would be really difficult to like change direction. Because once you start dashing, you kind of are stuck in that direction until the spell ends, and that's really annoying to deal with. Um, but you know, I was able to get the spells done. It takes like determination and brute force, but yeah. And eventually you're able to like do really crazy stuff with your spells, you know, change you know, once you get all the runes and you're able to unlock being able to change your spell's elements, you'll be able to reflect light for one of the puzzles. You would be able to like I said before, change your ice bridges to like dirt, like to like rock bridges for like the fire level. You'll be able to do really cool stuff with your fireball spells. You can make fire rain. Um, you can shoot balls of lightning, and it, like I really like this system, and that's why I liked Ars Magica and Ars Nosbu so much. Is like these types of spell systems where you take different spell parts and put them together to make like a full-fledged spell, and you have full control over that is like really amazing. And I want you to take note of how many places you have for runes. Now, you know, as you can see with the different, you know, runes, they have different, you know, notches. So you won't be able to place a rune down anywhere. They have to be connected to another spell part. So if I were to put this here, it would be connected. It will show you where your spell part is eligible to be placed, but essentially, you can be able to place these like anywhere onto your spell grid, essentially. So you'll have one, two, three, um, let me see. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you'll have essentially 18 spots. Um, the thing in the middle doesn't count because it already stays there. So you have like 18 spots to place your spell. And you have this for every spell that you create. And I think you can make up to, hold on. How many can you, I think that's X. And then that's X. And then that's so for each element. So for Amidi, Actus, Creo, and Ego, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots for each spell. Let me test that out because I haven't had the need to fill out all 6 slots. It seems like that's the case, yeah. So you are essentially able to make 6 slots for each type of like element that you have. And okay, this one, I still need this one. So you have a lot of room to create mini spells and chain them and control them however you wish. And, you know, I'm going to show you a little bit more gameplay, because I need to show you some more parts to this. Okay. Okay. So when you go into villages and towns, you can't cast any spells because in this world, right, the mages are being persecuted, and that is explained within the game's lore and explained further within the comic. Essentially, mages are outlawed because of the Marquis, and that was actions due to the last Mage King. I forget his name, but they essentially called him the Mad King, and he grew mad with power, and when the Marquis rose to power, he banned all magic, and they hunt mages. So, but the mage's role in the world of Mystralia, at least from what is told in the comic and in this game, mages are supposed to be protecting Mystralia. They're supposed to be helping, keep the monsters at bay, making sure that things don't go awry and everything is balanced and the citizens are safe. That's essentially what the job for the mages are supposed to be doing. And since they're outlawed, um, they're they still have to do their they still have to protect everybody, but in the shadows essentially. And in the game, they essentially send Zia to investigate what's happening with the eclipse, because they can't go, because if they go, they're going to notice them. They recognize their faces, but they don't know that Zia is a mage. So she's able to like infiltrate everything. So I want to show you the interactions between the villagers. Hopefully the sound is working correctly. Okay, so it seems like I had the volume too down. So, I think I fixed it. Hopefully things work properly. But I should be able to fix it in editing, because I have everything in separate tracks. So, yeah. But essentially, when you interact with a girl, like, let's interact with a girl right here. And then we'll interact with this person. They don't have voice acting, but they make these whimsical sounding sounds every time you talk to them. Like the general like grunts and stuff, everything, from like some games. Um yeah, they kind of just do that, and then they have like these nice and comic-y looking speech bubbles, which is really nice. Um, and then they have like different UI for people who have quests for you. Um, and then the water is like really nice. Um, this is like the pathway to like one of the dungeons, but I haven't got up to. Oh, hi. I guess I found a bug. Hello. He's stuck. He's stuck. But anyway, yeah, like you can tell like everything just works together, and it feels like the art style and the sound design is like meant for this world. So I'm not going to advance to the next part of the story. What I'm going to do is that I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to go and go back to one of the areas. So with these in the game, these are like essentially ways that you can like teleport to like different places. Yes. And this is the map, essentially. This is the your world map. So I already did the Sky Temple already. The soundtrack for the Temple, I really love those. The soundtrack for that one. Um, the background music for that one. And then you have the rides. I'm gonna go back to Haven, because that's the spot where all the mages reside. Yep. Oh, the music for this one. I love the music for this one. But yeah, this is essentially Haven. And the enchanter is somewhere. I don't know where he went. Oh, yeah. They're all up there. They're still all up there. Oh. I didn't mean to... Okay. Well, this is all the mages. I forgot that I wanted to wait until I get to this part, but... Yeah. Yeah, these are what's left of the mages. So this is what I was talking about earlier, the eclipse. Yeah, so that's like her mentor, the one with the gray stripe on his hair. Oh yeah, Atius, that was his name. The Mad King Actius. Or Atius, however you pronounce it. So that's the enchanter. He is someone that pops up in the comic, and the comic, I mean, in the game it's explained why he turns into like a creature, because he's a mage, but he used a forbidden technique that turned him into the monstrosity that you see now. Um, and the comic details the sacrifice, I believe, that he made to like imprison the Mad King. And yeah, spoiler alert, because I will say this, I'm going to like talk about the lore further later on, but spoiler alert, um he traps the Mad King in the spellbook we're using. And the spellbook talks to us. as you can see here. So yeah, and yeah, I was looking for the enchanter because I was trying to explain this character to him. So yeah. So yeah. So the enchanter, this is like the guy, and I'm pointing him out now for like lore stuff that I'm going to talk about a little bit later once I talk about the second game. So this is Haven, as you can see, like with that cutscene, and the sounds that they're making, and just like the art style, like look at how beautiful this looks. Oh, and I unlocked the other stuff. Um, so that's like the challenge arena where you fight raves of monsters, um, and you can get cool rewards, and a new outfit for your character. I already know where it is. Yeah, this is the mentor. This is like the guy who takes us in. I don't have enough. Yeah, but I'm going to go into like the areas where, because like throughout the world you'll come across like different like places where there are puzzles and then you get rewards for those. And that could either be runes or soul beads and stuff like that. Speaking of, is that here? Where can I find items? Yeah, you can get like wines, different items and stuff. Um, yeah, here's music again, and you can see through here. Yeah, and that is where. So you can essentially fight these monsters, and you can use your spells to fight. Oh. Ah, because I'm like bad at this because like I switched my controls and I'm getting my controls mixed up. But so you can essentially hit enemies from far away. Yeah. And back to the spells. I believe, did I get this one yet? Yes. So I will mention this when we get to the second game. But you can find, but I'll mention this again, when we get to the second game. But you see this rune right here, the homing rune? You are able, once you find this rune, you keep it for like ever. You keep it forever. However, in the second game, you, similar to like how with Hades, after you complete a room, you get boons from the different gods and goddesses, but you don't keep them. They're randomized during each run. This is kind of like a randomized ability that you can get. You don't keep it, which is a downgrade. And considering my inability to just be very coordinated when it comes to doing certain stuff, you know, having a rune like this is actually really nice. Having it, you know, just home to like enemies and stuff. But here, yeah. And this is like the forest. I'm going to skip past these. But oh, actually, I'm going to make my ice bridge. This is one of the puzzle areas that I've already... Did I already complete this? No, I don't think I did. Well, I'm going to complete it. Did I miss one? Did I miss... Oh, I did. Whoops. Well, I can do this when I'm not... But this is one of the puzzle areas that you can do. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm not going to waste time struggling with my bad coordination. But, you know, I'm going to move past here. Yeah, and this is the village of Greyleaf. This was Zia's village, you know, and she got kicked out. At one point, you'll be able to cast spells during, like, while inside this village, but that's, like, during, like, one, like, event that happens. But yeah, this is, like, you're able... This is, like, her village and everything. I just wanted to show you some of the areas in the game that you'll be interacting with. But yeah, now I think that's enough showing the game, at least for right now. If there's something that I missed, I'll probably go back to it. But um as you can see, this game is, you know, pretty charming. I really liked the game for, you know, its art style and everything. Now, and you know, the story. But now I'll just take a pause on this game and show you the demo. Okay, so this is what the second game looks like. Sorry, I had to go and turn down the music a little bit. It might be a little bit weird because my drives are acting up, so I had to restart the game because, like, for some reason it locks the mouse only in the bounds of this window. I think I can, like, free my mouse when I hit, like, my Windows key, but, like, if I click back to the window, it kind of, like, locks it, which is a little bit weird. What's also a little bit annoying is the fact that I can't just put it in, like, windowed mode, but, like, truly. So, like, I'm not able to interact with the buttons up here. So, like, this is grayed out. The graphics, I have it in windowed, and then there's full screen windowed. But if I hit apply, it's probably gonna be a bit weird. I think it's, like, kind of messed up because, this isn't supposed to be, it's supposed to be on my main laptop, but I'm using my external monitor, and now it froze. That's great. That's fun. Love that. Oh, it just full on crashed. Yeah, that. Let's try that again. Let me try that again. Take two. We'll just put it on the correct monitor. We're going to decrease the resolution a tad. We're gonna click okay. Or perhaps I should do it full screened. Did I? Okay. 1920 by 1080. There we go. Oh. But now it's... Now it won't show on my thing. It's completely... Oh boy, I love this. Okay. How about full screen windowed? And not... There we go. It's a little bit low quality, but at least I'm able to see it on my second monitor, so who cares? Or maybe I can like increase this just a smidge, right? Maybe. Perhaps. There we go. Now it works. But yeah, this is the demo for the second game. As you can see, the music is a lot different. The art style is a lot different. And if this game wasn't attached to Mystralia at all, I probably wouldn't have as many problems with this game as I do right now. But, you know, as you can see, the vibes are just different. The whimsical music that was in the first game, that's not there anymore. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with the music. The music sounds great. It's just the vibes that they went for the second game from what they present in the demo is just a sharp 180 from what they went with the first game. And I know they're kind of like, you know, with Mages of Mystralia, it was like their first game that they published, I think. Or at least the first game. You know, I'm sure like with new studios, like they're probably just trying to find the game that, you know, a game style that they like and that they would stick with, that they will be attached to their studio. But like, considering how a lot of people liked the first game, I don't really understand why they decided to pivot this much. And, you know, from looking at the reviews from the first game, I would see like the occasional rude person who didn't like the game, but you're not going to please everybody, and they weren't giving constructive criticism. The people who actually loved this game and were really nice, you know, there are people giving constructive criticism for the first game. But the consensus was a lot of people liked the first game for like the art style, the story, the gameplay. There was like some criticisms with like the movement and everything, but like they kind of did a lot of things right with the first game. So I don't really understand why they decided to like switch the vibes for the second game. But, you know, that's what they decided that they were going to do. So I will just show you what the game is like. It's best played on the controller, so I guess they're still trying to work out the kinks with, you know, mouse and keyboard, and no, I've played a little bit of the demo. This is just one of my saves that I did, and when you die and respawn, this is the first character you see, and if you talk to this person,
now it's all sad and beautiful.
And it's kind of weird because, like, while going through the dialogue and everything, you know, like, there's voice acting in this now. And I think while searching for reviews of the game, people have mentioned that they didn't exactly like the voice acting. And I'm kind of iffy on the voice acting because I liked the whimsical noises that the characters of the first game were making. It didn't have voice acting, but I didn't mind that it didn't have voice acting. But with this game, you know, if it was just not attached to the Mystralia name, I wouldn't be so conflicted with having voice acting. So I'm just not sure. And then they mentioned the cycle, and you see this like this aura of like memories, as they call it, and that's kind of 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝗎 similar to, like, you know, with Hades and 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗏, and, you know, I believe he's like the god of rebirth or something like that, and like the red river that he keeps coming out of every time he dies. And from reading the dialogue from the demo, it seems like this new character essentially does the same thing. He like floats through the memories and stuff like that, and then he arises, and then this person brings him out of the sea of memories, it seems like. And then the interactions between this guy and his mentor like the snarkiness is kind of like similar to like the interactions that you would have in Hades between Zacharias and Hades. And then if you go here, you know, this is essentially what you would do to enter in with the dungeons and everything, or at least like the generated levels. And this is like the section where you practice hitting your spells and your spells and everything. And this is eerily similar to Hades. If you see this here, um, I feel like I won't be able to like explain this fully unless I create like a whole new save. But this is like the Lotus where you go and you create, you gain like permanent abilities and stuff like that. And I'm sure I forget what it's like in Hades. I've only seen other people play, um, on Twitch, like live streams of it. I haven't played the game myself. Considering that while playing this game, I liked going through the levels and stuff, that's probably a sign that I should just go and buy Hades. But this is the menu where you would get all of your permanent abilities and stuff. And in this game, like as you can see, my character is not Zia. It's this new dude. And I was confused. It's like from when they released the first trailer, because with the ending of Mages of Mystralia, it implied that perhaps in the second game we would continue on with Zia's story. But we're presented this demo, we're presented this game, and this now is this new character that we don't exactly give a fuck about. So I don't know. I'm just gonna start from the beginning again. And the other weird thing about this is that saving in this game, you can't directly save, at least in the demo. But in Mages of Mystralia, as you can see from my earlier gameplay, there are like these lampposts that you run close to, and that allows you to save your game. Like if you run close to a lamppost, it will glow, and that's an indication that that point in your adventure is saved. So yeah, so let me go to a new, oh, let me just make a new save, and I'll just go through the start. So this is the cutscene. Now with Hades, and with other games, having a cutscene at the beginning is like nothing new. Even in in Mages of Mystralia, there was a cutscene, so that's nothing new. But my problem is the way that the start of the game is presented to you, and it's awfully similar to Hades. So this is our main character.
I can't do it.
So his name is 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗃. I think that's how I pronounce it. And again, with the voice acting, I'm still, like I said before, I'm like really iffy on that because this is like a whole different vibe from the first game, and I'm not really sure if I like it or not.
And you never will unless you stay still.
And this is the goddess that was briefly mentioned in the trailer. And considering if you played through the first game and you've read the previous comic, you're gonna be like, huh? What goddess? Like in the village, there was like a building that resembled like a church and everything, but no like religion or sort of goddess, at least from my knowledge, was ever mentioned, unless I missed that somewhere. So to see this whole thing pop up, I was like, how does this goddess come into play? Not to mention that the way that the environment and the world is set up in Mages of Mystralia, this is pretty clear that this was set in like a medieval type period. But if you go through the environments in this game, that's not really reflected in the demo for Echoes of Mystralia. And it kind of, the vibe is similar to just Hades. You know, it's not medieval in like how it was presented in Mages of
I'm
Mystralia.
trying, but my head is spinning.
Breathe. Let the
I'm going to skip the voice acting because I don't really care for it too much.
Now you must rekindle the memory. Tell me what you remember.
Yeah, I don't care too much about the voice acting. But the demo is free. So if you're interested in playing the demo yourself, you can go on Steam and download the demo. So I'm just gonna skip most of the dialogue. I'm probably going to skip, or I mean, depending on how I feel.
I
But
remember Master called us. I could feel his worry. He sent Lucy and Obed.
Then what?
They left.
There, the memory is ready.
yeah, so he sneaks out without
I can
his
see it now.
master's permission, similar to how Zacharias snuck out without his father's permission. And then in Hades, we're drummed after that main cutscene. Hades puts us straight into like the dungeon part. And in
It
this
was already
game,
too late when I arrived.
and
The rift was
Okay.
tearing through Mystralia's sky. I knew I had to start moving.
yeah, and so after, and then similar to this game, after the main cutscene, it drops us straight into the dungeon part. And like the way that you go through the story, you have, similar to Hades, you have to interact with every character to give us the characters to give lore. So I'm just gonna go into here. So as you can see, you have like these different sections that take you to different rooms in the dungeon.
The forest was already taken. The rift awakened old memories. Shadows risen from the past.
And similar to Hades, this is kind of like in a same perspective that Hades is done in. Oh, I don't remember. And unlike with Mages of Mystralia, you do not have all the spell slots in the world to create your spells. And similar to Hades, every time you defeat a room, you get this little orb that has like a random ability that you can channel. Huh. That's like really familiar, huh? So you channel that and it gives you a selection. I actually don't know how. Okay. This is where you craft your spells. Try telling memories. Yeah, this is your quick spell. Get alternative memories. Triggers. Add additional effect to the spell or other triggers they're attached to. These are the sockets. So yeah, I think maybe this might have the same amount of slots, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's the same amount, but I don't, considering that these spells, you doesn't seem like you have, it seems like you're limited. It kind of locks you with this line. So like in mages, okay, so yeah. So in mages, I don't know if these spells grow as you progress, like if these like lines grow as you progress, but unlike with mages where you essentially have all the slockets presented to you and you're free to like put your runes and everything anywhere within the grid, with this you're kind of limited to where you need to place these. You're limited to where you have to place these. And I guess, and these abilities, they're essentially just spell prefabs. You're essentially just chaining spell prefabs together. You can't control the direction. You can't control the direction. You can control how many gets shoot out through other like spell parts or like memories in this game that you get, but you don't keep them. You don't have the freedom to keep them. You don't have, there are some abilities that allow you to like duplicate, like at least with this spell there's like some abilities where I'm able to like duplicate, like one goes in the front and then one goes in the back, but that's you're limited to like whatever is presented in these. And that's the problem. Unlike with mages, you're given less freedom to create your spells, and you don't have enough space for your spells. Everybody liked the first game's magic
I had never
system.
seen them before.
So
but
why
I was
do
trained to
this?
face them.
So as you can see my fireballs. Oh shit. So yeah, as you can see there, you're able to shoot out fireballs, but yeah, it's okay. So in the storm, and then these are like the trails of lightning. So this is essentially just another spell shape that you don't have any way of controlling. There's So modifiers affect the spell or the first to create new behaviors. So this essentially, it leaves a trail of lightning, but like you can't control the shape or the direction, or I don't know if this is attached to like the direction of the spell, maybe, I don't know. But this is just really similar to Hades. So the vibe isn't like the first game at all. Yeah, and this is how...
Oh, Mazarin.
I'll deal with the old man later.
Yeah, I'm just...
Listen, I know I shouldn't.
You can't stay.
Yeah, I'm skipping through this so you can play with the demo, but... Yeah, essentially, as you play through the levels, you'll eventually get like two choices between rooms, and you get like
She had sent me
abilities.
to find 𝗂𝗂𝗧𝗏, but I had no idea where to go.
You'll have to choose between the different rooms and determine which abilities you get. Similar to like Hades, but I think that just might be a thing that's a part of like the roguelike genre. And while trying to like gather more information, it seems like there are two terms, like roguelike and roguelite, and I got confused while trying to do research. I wasn't sure which one is which, because some people were saying that roguelikes were ones that didn't have meta progression, and roguelites were, and then some people were explaining it as if it were the other way around, so I don't know. But it seems like the idea of choosing rooms between rooms that give different abilities is kind of like common, which I don't have a problem with, because it was a feature in like a lot of games that I saw while I was doing research. And I will show an example of like one of the games that I was interested in playing called Going Under. But the way that they implemented their roguelike, you know, I'm gonna use roguelike because that's what everybody else was using, but they implemented this whole roguelike features differently. But this game seems to just be trying to copy Hades, vibe and all. And these like lotus like points that you're getting, I don't know essentially what they're really called, but like these points that you're getting for your lotus, that's what you use to like get your permanent upgrades. And then here's the boss room.
Emmett!
Go back.
They're all...
Dead?
I told you to drop it!
Ooh. Nope. 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 Oh boy. Ah, heck. Oh. Ah! Ah, man. Well, I managed to get further on my first time doing it. But yeah, as you can see, I died, and I'll get
That's how I
teleported
ended
here.
up back at the temple.
And as you can see, this like this like river of memories that you see here, and I will show like a video with like all the comparisons to Hades later, because I'll pull up like a video, but if you...
Hey, talk. Do you know what happened to 𝗂𝗏?
He attacked you?
What do you mean, everyone?
I mean the master. He realized you left and went, "Where's that undisciplined fool?"
So similar to Hades, like this rebellious kid, going and sneaking out and having this kind of similar personality to like Zagreus, like,
That prodigious dimwit!
and the interactions that he has with his master is kind of like similar to how, not completely similar, but you know, the first few interactions that I have is similar to the bickering is like between like similar to between Zagreus and Hades.
Disgrace of an apprentice!
Okay, talk. Got it. Thanks again. Toga got me in discreetly. I wanted to stay unseen, but the master was already waiting.
So, you return at last, my disciple. How was your little unsanctioned stroll across Mystralia?
Master, I know I disobeyed, but we'll have to skip the punishment
He
part.
did. Good. At least one of
But
you...
you don't understand.
Enough. I will not hear your excuses. You left...
Yeah. So, yeah, I know I'm skipping most of them, but I'm just trying.
Goddess, you wanted to see me? Sorry for disobeying.
And that's the goddess. This like dragon or serpent creature?
A watch.
But you know what I kind of found like a little bit what this scene kind of reminds me of, like these people being able to communicate with this world's goddess is kind of, and like their connection with the goddess is kind of similar to like Wakfu and the 𝗂𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃. You know, they're essentially on another planet, and they live in a different planet from like the world of, well, actually I think the lore, well, originally the world of 12 was their home before it got destroyed, and then the rest of the gods populated with theirs, and then the 𝗂𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 inhabited like a different planet. But you know, kind of similar to how like the 𝗂𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃s have a connection to their goddess, and they're like in a different like plane of existence. This is, and these people seems to have the same thing. Kind of reminds me of that. And what's also kind of weird is that these group of people that live on this like temple in space on a different plane of existence, they're not mages. And I guess that would kind of explain why, I guess that could be an in-universe explanation as to why the spell menu isn't like the spell book. And in the first game, you know, more spoilers, well, it doesn't really make sense because like in the game, the Mad King trapped in the spell book ends up leaving and inhabiting the Enchanter, and he ended up dipping out, and Xia ends up, you know, stopping the eclipse, but after he leaves, but the spell book is still there when she's doing that, but it wasn't shown if she still keeps the spell book after the Mad King leaves. So, but I don't know. But here there's like this different group of people, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to like get to the parts where they where I can show you the lore that they presented. But just in case I don't get to it, I'll just mention it here. Apparently it seems like in this game, the game tells us that, at least from what I got from speaking to the characters, it seems like the mages burnt down a forest and in order to create soul beads, which doesn't really make any sense because in the first game it was explicitly stated that the job of the mages was to protect Mystralia. And yes, there has been times, at least twice shown in the game and in the comic, that there have been individuals that were seeking more power when they shouldn't have, and they were getting into forbidding magic. But both of those times, the rest of the mages put a stop to that. So there are other mages that are able to keep those people in check, essentially. But here, the whole group of mages just laying waste to the entire forest when in the first game it was stated that they're supposed to be protecting everything. That doesn't really make any sense. Unless, after the enchanter being possessed by the Mad King leaves, unless he just fucked off somewhere, created a cult or some shit, and then started creating chaos everywhere. Like, did he like create a split between the mages, those who wanted to continue protecting Mystralia and those who wanted to spread chaos and gain more power and stuff like that? Like, did that happen? I don't know. At least so far from playing the demo, it wasn't explained yet. I didn't get that far. I don't know if it was ever explained in the demo or if it will be explained when the full game releases. But, you know, it's not explained. All I can do is speculate. But so far from playing the demo, Zia wasn't mentioned, the mentor wasn't mentioned, the sages weren't mentioned, the Mad King wasn't mentioned. Like, you know, so far, like, nothing is mentioned on what happened to the Chancellor, the Marquise's Chancellor, because he's a villain in the first game. And spoiler alert, he's kind of the reason behind the eclipse anyway. So, for the prologue of the eclipse anyway, and like Zia defeats him in the first game, but he kind of just lies there. Like, it's not mentioned what they do with him afterward, and now we're in this game, and so far not a peep has been mentioned about the different characters. Like, what happened to the citizens? Like, whereas mages, you know, were they still persecuting mages in this world? Because in the first game they were persecuting the mages due to the Mad King. So for the mages to just suddenly come up and then just start wrecking shit without any consequences, like, it seemed like a war started or something like that. Like, I really don't understand the whole lore between the two, unless it will be explained later, maybe in the demo or in the main game. Like, I just don't understand. I don't know how they're gonna go about this, and I'm kind of worried about the lore because, you know, if this is like a giant retcon, then I'm gonna be pretty upset. And it's fine if they weren't exactly happy with how the story played out in the first game and they wanted to like redo everything. But like, they posted the first game, they didn't really leave much updates afterward after they posted the Switch up, like the released the Switch version and everything. It's been mostly radio silence from them, and now we're suddenly giving these updates with the second game, and I don't know.
Why were there so many shadows on Mystralia?
Because Mystralia is drowning in its own past.
And that's what the goddess says as to why the rift is happening and why these monsters are appearing. But from the lore that they presented, at least from my first time playing the demo, it seemed like the war happened 10 years ago. So, like, where in the timeline is this game set? Are we in the past? Are we in the future? What about the events that happened in the first game? Are these characters even still alive? What are we gonna get some closure for what happened in the first game?
World.
And she she mentions the Guardians, and I was too puny to like stop dying. Like, I kept dying. I haven't gotten to the point where I met one of the Guardians yet. But the Guardians, are these the sages? Are these the same people that were in the comic and the first game? Are these the same people that we're talking about? Or are these a whole new group of individuals? Like,
If the rift began in Mystralia, they will remember.
A young watcher could learn much.
Wait, a young watcher as in...
It is not the role of time to punish.
And then the Timeless One rose. I watched her cross the temple sky, unable to move. It felt like the end of the world. And somehow, my beginning.
I'll probably watch somebody else's gameplay to see if I can watch the parts where they meet
It was time to go.
the rest, like the Guardians. Okay, I'm just going to like skip this. Yeah, and these are the abilities like I showed before. Heavy burden. So yeah, here is more of the spell prefabs. So you can, so I believe these are like stuff that you can like all attach to your spells, but they're randomized each run, which is a huge downgrade from the first game. And again, like I keep saying before, like I don't mind if this game wasn't doing this, if it wasn't like attached to the Mystralia name, if it wasn't supposed to be a continuation of the first game. Because how do you go from the first game where you're giving all this creativity, giving all this freedom, to this where you're not able to control the movement of your spells? You're essentially just stacking spell movements and just effects to each other without really giving much control, and they're randomized each time. And yes, maybe this will cause some people to be more creative with the limitations that they have, but why suddenly do this when the first game, when there isn't really nothing wrong with the first game? And they were, saying how, and they were like reporting on how they decided to go about the magic system in the first game, and then they said that they wanted to, I guess I read somewhere, I don't know if I'm misremembering, but I read somewhere that they wanted to continue on with like the magic system, like improve upon it. Like, how is this an improvement? You're taking away our freedoms. Like, what? So essentially, these different
I was
rooms
finally walking the path.
will determine which like element your spell
I was
will
the
be
only
in.
one-
Okay, so I think this is when you would decide where you want to go on the map, and it's randomized each time, this map. So I want to try and see if I can get to the point where so you can choose between the different things, and they give you like different like currency, I'm gonna say, like the stuff down there. Oh, this is the first time I've actually defeated a room, a room like this and survived. And this is like only my second save file. Dang. Is this okay? So this is one of the characters.
I'll never forget my first encounter with the masked priest.
All order!
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Are you speaking?
The ravage of the forest has lasted long enough.
I see. I got here.
The mages strike with fire, and with fire we shall answer.
Yeah. So this is him referencing the mages burning the forest down.
Wait,
Let the flames rise, and with them our strength.
I need to get out of here.
Ah. What? How did I don't even know how I died there, but yeah, any relic that you get, it doesn't stay.
Hey, human friend.
lad?
Oh, I doubt it.
That's not very.
Oh, sorry, human friend.
Okay, because I'm just skipping until I get to relevant lore parts. I'm kind of like speeding through this as much as I possibly can.
Do I need to be an ancient dragon for you to listen? I ask you to stay at the temple, and you play deaf. But the Timeless One mentions Mystralia once, and you're already gone.
So this is kind of like the back and forth interaction that Mazarim and and 𝗂𝗶𝗱𝗲 have between each other, and it's kind of similar to how Hades and Zagreus interacts. And
Master, here was my choice. Explore world and meet its ancient guardians, or stay here and mop the floor. What would you have done in my place?
But you're still an apprentice. The rift is not yours to handle. I am already taking care of it, my disciple.
Forgive me, Master, but the Timeless One gave me her blessing.
Fine. This is pointless. Your mind is set. All I hope is that you don't end up like 𝗂𝗏𝗃.
You've heard from him?
𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗃𝗀. 𝗂𝗏𝗃, wandering the woods, fully taken by the shadows, which doesn't bode well for Luciame.
did I miss one? Who else is lurking? Ah, you. Yeah, and unless I'm like missing something with these enemies, but like in the first game you had goblins, you had these weird sea monster things. Later in the game, like the guards would come after you. In like one of the dungeons there were like they're like all sorts of different enemies. But here all the enemies are kind of like different, and I guess with like different games you're gonna have like different enemies, like kind of similar to like with the Zelda games. You'll have different memories. Some enemies would get reused, but you know, like I'm just wondering where all the elements, the world building and the elements that were in the first game, like where did they go in the second game?
Soul beads. The reason for the war.
So, soul beads, the reason for the roar. So the mages burned down the forest to make soul beads. Why would they burn down a whole forest to make soul beads when their job was to protect the land? Like, I don't understand. Unless I'm misunderstanding something fundamental within the lore that was mentioned in the first game and in the comics. Like, as you saw from the cutscene in the first game, they were having meetings discussing the eclipse and how to stop it so that chaos wouldn't happen. So why would the mages be intentionally creating chaos just to make currency? So it depends. I can level this up. Yeah, you can level up these. I mean, this is something new. For like the second game, you can upgrade your memories, as they call it, which wasn't in the first game. And that's kind of like a neat change. Was it here? Was it this one? Is this the place where...
Step
Oh,
no
yes.
further, stranger.
Yes. Okay.
Sure thing. Name's Matt.
All right, Mazarim. Quick question.
5 at a glance.
Indeed. 5.
Haunted? No.
Good enough. Enter.
Okay, so...
Welcome to our greenhouse, traveler.
I understand. And I'm sorry
You
to...
come here seeking the memories of our people, do you not? I was hoping we would see one of you soon.
So these people, they don't seem like people from, you know, the medieval period. I mean, I like that we have like more diverse people in this game than in the first game. But like, compared to like the first game and here, like what happened to the types of people that were in the first game? And they seem to just be gone. Here, like...
You know of us?
Yes, one of you in particular. I know that you make sure the past stays where it should. This very morning I went to pray to the sacred tree, hoping it would send you our way. You have our blessing. Take all the... Spirits or not.
It seems I owe you an
I'm no god. I come from a temple, not the heavens.
Skyfolk trying to play humble. Anyway, Don't worry about the wolves. I trust them with my life. Sure, we're protected. Sarian tells me I should calm down. Honestly, I feel a little like they do. Can't have a minute to myself.
Forgive me, but I need to. The spirits must not. Spirits or not. Spirits or not.
Okay. So,
Well, now, this is embarrassing. Someone finally passes by, and here I am covered in ashes.
Nobody knows me here, and I showed up out of the blue.
Look at us. Two polite souls at the end of the world.
You seem to be holding up well for now.
The ashes, my friend. I haven't stopped grinding them since the sky turned purple. They keep us safe. Don't let troubled spirits get. Don't let troubled spirits get.
okay. Just
Gotcha.
Sorry, what did you call me?
You've come to meet the Guardians because of the rift.
I don't know who told you that, but they were well informed.
'Twas the spirits. You watchers call them memories. Some return to us. They speak to me through the ashes.
okay, so the Watchers call them, the people in the sky call them memories. The people down here call them the spirits.
This morn, they spoke of he whom you call 𝗂𝗃𝗀𝗃. The sacred tree does not fare well. May the ashes the spirits of the fall. The sacred tree, when in doubt, may the ashes protect you.
Okay. So, and then this is like the part, like just like in Hades, you would have like these places where you just buy them. I mean, it's kind of similar to like different roguelikes as well. I believe the roguelike Going Under has like a similar room where you buy like different weapons or abilities and stuff like that. I mean, it's nice that we're getting more diverse people in this game. We always love a little diversity. Oh no, I'm gonna die. I know I'm gonna die. Oh, I killed myself. Of course I did.
A human friend. How's it going?
No, I didn't. The shadows are in the way.
Because 𝗂𝗂𝘀 and Mystralia spin together. When past is hurt, now get hurt too. When memory get healed, Mystralia get healed too.
But for that, I
Try
need
go to the Lotus first.
You
Before
sound just like Master.
Think what you want of Master. But
I mean, I already went to the Lotus, but I can't do it again, because...
Mazarim, I have been thinking, and I understand your need for adventure.
It's all right, Master. You did what
That is true. But it is time I involve you.
So we can send the echo fragments back into the cycle?
Exactly, my disciple. And
What if we split the work instead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't unlock this in my previous game, but since I had some there, yeah, wait. Wasn't it supposed to take... Wasn't it supposed to take the currency? Unless that was a bug. But yeah, I'm just gonna go here and... I know I'm like speeding through this, but I just want to see if I can get to the relevant lore parts. Unless these look like guards. These might be the guards that I was thinking about. Yeah, this might be it. Cause like I was wondering where the guards were, but I just realized that these enemies that I'm fighting right here might be the guards. But this might have been guards from the 10 years ago. So, but still this might be an indication that the guards from the first game, like the medieval aspect, might be still kicking around. I don't know if these enemies are supposed to be mages or not, but they look like ghosts. Or maybe they're the spirits of mages, maybe? Enlightened heart, speed. Oh. Yeah, I'll do this first. Okay, I'm gonna go here, because I want my 1% healing ability.
journey would be rich in wisdom.
Yes, and you will get healing. I mean, at least the guard tower, the posts are still there. At least. Oh crap! You didn't give me the chance to rest, Sting. Hi. Just like with these ice. It's like with those icicles, like I can't change the direction. I can only control, like this is just like another instance of, because these are ice thorns, you can't change how it's gonna move. It's already predetermined with this trigger. So, yeah, like, this is just another example of not being able to truly have control. Oh yes, I will take that. Oh no, not this one. I'm screwed. Oh my god. Oh, this is the rain person, I think.
This place felt gloomy, yet somehow soothing.
This will...
Oh, High Blossom, I call upon thee from the summit of your mountain. I know you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. It's you who can't.
Oh, High Blossom, I know you see our forest in flames, and I know they're taking from your mountain too.
You mean the mages, right? What did they do to this
So,
forest?
this is what they... So this is the lore bit that reveals that the mages burned down the forest.
May my clouds rise to guard the trees. May my rain fall to shield the leaves.
Okay, so this is another room. I never managed to get this far. In my first one. Which I don't know if this is another room or not, but we'll see.
I was finally there. 𝗂𝗃𝗀's temple.
Okay, so maybe I might...
Crossing an entire forest wasn't enough. Of course there had to be stairs too.
Okay.
Guardian 𝗂𝗃𝗀, it's an honor to finally meet you. I've been sent to ask for your help. Do you know what happened with the rift up in the sky?
Yes, I know. A miracle happened. The end of suffering.
I'm not sure if this is the same person who was one of the sages, or if this is the entirely new person.
A miracle? With all due respect, Guardian, have you been in the forest lately? Pretty sure miracles don't wander around trying to stab you with a spear.
Breathe, Watcher. Can you feel it in your lungs? The shame, the anger, burning away. The fire has returned, and from the ashes we shall all be reborn.
Is he okay? Oh! He's a boss! He what? I wasn't expecting that. How did I get hit? I'm gonna die. Yep. I wonder if there's new dialogue in regards to that.
I saw twisty weird memory swirling ahead of you in the cycle, like it was you fighting the Guardian. Are my eyes wrong?
No, your eyes are fine. It's my meeting with 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃 that went wrong. He tried to fry me.
Fry? But why? He tree. Tree not eat human. Tree eat sunlight.
Doc, it's a figure of speech, remember?
Metaphor. Yes, yes. Still hard for me.
It's okay, Doc. I'm confused too. If the shadows really got the Guardian, then the rift is a lot stronger than we thought.
Mazarim, the Timeless One asks for you. What happened down there?
I'm not sure. I reached the Guardian, or at least his temple.
You reached him? Truly? Well, that is good. Yes. Very good, my son. I'm proud of you.
But he attacked me. I don't understand. Was it some kind of trial? Was he testing me?
No, my disciple. Guardians don't test Watchers. I believe it was the Rift testing you. You should take its warning seriously.
Okay, so maybe I might get different dialogue since I managed to reach the Guardian on this save, but okay, well, I'll just okay, so this one's locked. I can't open this one. So maybe yeah, since I managed to reach that one, I think, cause like, yeah, from the lore bit that I mentioned before, like, it seemed like a war happened, and the mages burned down the forest, and that were the reason of it. And like, the mages burnt out the forest makes 𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗀. It seems to have started a war, I guess.
The cycle of memories hears you, Watcher. Tell it what happened with 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃.
He attacked me. Spoke of the rift as if it were a miracle. An end to all suffering.
He watched his forest burn. Trees he'd grown turned to ash. The 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗀 people caught in flames.
So it was his forest. So the Guardian's forest, the mages burnt down to make soul beads. And it happened 10 years ago. And somehow the rift is causing those memories to be brought back for some reason.
Guardians know pain and must embrace it as they do every memory. If he spoke that way, it means the shadows have claimed him.
But he was talking to me. He wasn't trapped in a memory like Obak. He still had some grip on reality. Twisted and confused, but still.
Then the path is clear, Watcher. Return to him. Free 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃 from what haunts him, and the answers will follow.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna try and see if I can do one more so that I can get the lore, because they mention the way that he comes after he dies. Like, from my interacting with the characters, it seems like the memories or the spirits or whatever, it falls into like this thing. I don't know if this like aura is like but they speak of the cycle as if, considering like the cycle, and how like Mazarim like emerges from it, it kind of seems reminiscent of 𝗃𝗃𝗃 and how every time he dies he like flows through like the river, the Red River, I forget what the river's called, and it's kind of like a cycle every time he like dies. It kind of seems like they were taking pages from that. Now I know there's probably some games that will like use like the time that you use the mechanic that you redie over and over and over as like a cycle, but like if you take that this game, like the tone of this game, is like similar to Hades. The music, like the tone of the game is similar to Hades. The way you start off the game is similar to Hades, and like the how you get your abilities, like the way they present the abilities you get after you defeat each room is like similar to Hades. I brought up like this playthrough of Hades because I don't have the game, so and I don't exactly um yeah, but I'll bring up this playthrough of Hades and
Few
yeah,
tales are told of Hades.
you can see the the cutscene and everything, right? The cutscene. So like credit to like this person this for like the playthrough of Hades. I just like want to show you because I don't have the game itself. I just want to show you how it's similar to like Hades in a way. So if I were to go here, so here's like the beginning after that cutscene. It drops you in. Oh, do I have it slow down? I think I might have it slow down. Wait a minute, hold on. Just like give me. Why is it slow down? I don't know why it's slow down. And you can tell like
This place. I'm leaving. Try and stop me.
so yeah, so it's like similar to how like Mazarin was like narrating throughout, you know, you fighting the enemies in the rooms. This is like similar to like Hades. And like the style of music, it's not all like whimsical. I mean, it still has. It's kind of the music is still great in a way, but like it's not as whimsical with the music. The style of music is different from the style of music from Hades and from Echoes of Australia is different from the whimsiness that is in Mages of Australia. So already, and you can see like the perspective like is similar. So as you can see, the snappiness is like pretty much similar, right? And I'll probably like skip forward.
There she is.
See, look, hold on. Let me go back and
There she is.
see. After you're done defeating the enemies, you just get this upgrade in a sphere-like thing. And then similar, you have like these abilities. Like obviously the UI is different, but like you have these abilities and they do different things. Um, but yeah, I want to see if I can skip forward to like towards the relevant parts. Let me see, and kind of like similar. I guess because this is just like the style, because like the style of how, because like they did it differently in Echoes, but I guess it's just like the default. You have these two doors and they do different things. I guess this is like common in like all the roguelikes and everything. So I'll just like skip forward. I want to see if I can find an example of like either the shops or like the bosses. But I guess like with the bosses with any roguelike, it's kind of like the same. There's just a boss room and you're kind of like stuck fighting the boss. So I'll probably won't show that. Okay, so I guess this is where they die. So yeah, I mean, in the Echoes it doesn't show it, but essentially after you die and you're flowing back through like this river or this flow of whatever this is, the first thing you see is like a character that
Don't mind me.
yeah, so here's the interaction between Zagreus and Hades.
I told you nobody gets out of here, whether alive or dead. So how was your wanton ransacking of my domain?
Greetings, Father. My ransacking was a delight, thank you for asking. So I'll just be on my way again.
Be on your do I care? You shall never reach the surface. Go, see for yourself.
It's not completely the same, but like the back and forth between, you know, in Hades' case it's between father and son, and Echo's case is between disciple and master, but like the same vibe that you would get from like the back and forth between the two games is kind of like similar. So,
You've returned.
and then after you die, and perhaps this is kind of like similar to with all roguelikes, but I want to see if I can find the similarities that you would have. Um, Perhaps maybe you can. I'm sure I'm like missing some other things that I compare, but if you like watch playthroughs on YouTube, I'm sure you can like see the similarities between the two games. And perhaps maybe I'm just like blinded by nostalgia. Perhaps I'm just biased and, looking through rose tinted glasses. But, you know, my issue is like there have been, people ask, what's the line that has to be drawn between inspiration and just straight up copying? You know, how much inspiration can a game take from another game before it becomes evident that they're just like stealing the other game's ideas and not really putting their own spin onto it? You know, I've seen in the gaming space where people just blindly call a game like a clone of another game without giving the game a chance. They did it with Genshin Impact, with Breath of the Wild, and and as the years go by, it turns out that Genshin Impact, even from the first day it launched, it turns out that Genshin Impact wasn't a Breath of the Wild clone, and it was its own thing. I've seen people call Magician's Quest Mysterious Times, an Animal Crossing clone, even though it was more than just that. It wasn't an Animal Crossing clone. They took inspiration from Animal Crossing and they added more to it. They actually did better than Animal Crossing in some areas, In the first Animal Crossing game, you couldn't change your skin tone, but in um Magician's Quest, you could. You could um date your uh the characters that was in the game, but in Animal Crossing you couldn't. There were things that Magician's Quest has added that did better than what Animal Crossing have ever done. And, I've seen discourse that, between Ori and the Blind Forest and Hollow Knight, I think it was like the second game that people are having issues with it. But it was clear that, yes, they were both Metroidvanias. I think that's what the term was. But it was clear that Ori and the Will-O-Wisp, the second game was only taking inspiration from Hollow Knight, and it wasn't just a blade up straight up copying. It was more they were just taking inspiration, you know. And so my question is how much, because it wasn't just like this game is just taking a few elements from Hades that they liked and decided to put in their game. It just seems like a reskinned Hades. And from looking on videos online on YouTube, it seems like a lot of people have actually enjoyed this. So I'm not really sure. And at the time when I was trying to look into this, I was like, I'm like, am I just, overreacting? Or something like that. But like the similarities, it's not just one or two similarities. It just seems like the similarities just is just one after another. And if you compare Echoes of Australia to the first game, you could just be left wondering why did they do this when there wasn't really anything wrong with the first game. So I'm just going to show you the reviews from from this demo because I thought I was just the only one that felt this way. So I'll just show you this one, Mystralia in name only. So I wasn't the only one. Like I said in the beginning, like there was like that one comment that said that it was just a Hades clone, and then when I played it, I kind of like felt the same thing. And then here is more reviews. So this is from a review. Boy, what happened in the development between the end of Mages of Mystralia and this game? I was hoping to see more of the characters and enhancement of the original formula. It was pretty good after all, and definitely challenging, but this was something else entirely. It feels like an entirely separate game was developed and had the Mystralia brand slapped onto it, similar to how Super Mario Bros. 2 rolled out in the US. So yeah, it just feels like Echoes of Mystralia feels like a game, you know, parading in the first game's skin. This isn't Mystralia. This isn't the game that I grew up on and played and watched tutorials on and stalked the this wasn't the world that I came to grow with. And you know, I just can't seem to understand why they decided to pivot. Yes, you know, Hades is a good game, but like you had something special with the first game, so why did you abandon that? Maybe this really isn't my type of game, but I'm not really feeling this demo. Even on a gamepad, the comment feels weak, clunky, and bad. Well, at least in my experience, I didn't really have anything to say on the combat. Perhaps maybe it's because um, I don't know, maybe it's just me, I didn't see anything wrong. Um, but other people who have more experience in playing roguelike games probably have input that's, you know, a more in-depth input that I can ever say or put out. Um, is this fight die repeat the way the extra game time has been padded? Is the story incredibly short that you'll be relying on the possible ineptitude of the player to create hours logged? What happened to all their original IP, the development team? Was there a change in management, a change of development hands? This feels like a night and day difference in terms of what the first game built and what the demo is supposed to provide a taste of. I'm totally open to games not being for certain types of players, but I guess I had expected something that was built upon the existing lore, and this doesn't feel like it. Honestly, it feels like a mobile tablet game that was ported to desktop. I don't really agree with this. This feels like a repaint of Hades, similar to how I said that Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is just going to be a repainted Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. My the same feelings that I had with that I feel with Echoes of Mystralia. This feels like a repainted Hades game with nothing really new added to the formula. You know, the only changes are the art style, the characters, the main mechanic where you're building your spells, um, the voice acting, and that's it. Those are the four main changes. Everything else is pretty much a carbon copy of like it's pretty much a copy of Hades. So, if anything, it's more like Hades. Again, the same opinion. The storyline is so messy as fuck too. Mages had a clean and clear storyline and great map exploration. The spells feel weird and choppy too. I feel like I'm playing another Street Fighter almost, and it feels like Avatar ripoff. Besides the background, nothing about it feels like mages. All the characters you encounter don't even seem like Australians. There are no trolls or anything like that. Yeah, the same comment that I said, where are the goblins? The same people that's in the second game. Yes, I like all the the diversity in the second game. Like, we need more diversity. But like, what about the people that was presented in the first game? Like, where did they go? Like, the only remnants that I see are like the guard characters, the guard enemies that you fight, and that's it. You know, it's sad that it seems like a money grab just to make another roguelike. Yeah, same. Star-wise, it doesn't feel like the same from the previous title. Zio was close to the people she was protecting in an imminent danger of imprisonment, execution, and burning, and she was kind. The new protection is just some hero complex prophecy man who's urged by God. Yeah, it's like it all. It's not just B that's having this issue. Yeah, so pretty. To give you a reason to care about the game. Voice acting made me want to skip every dialogue box. Yeah, some people had issues with the voice acting. I don't really like. I guess my final thing is like I don't really like the voice acting because, you know, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna be on the camp of not really liking the voice acting all too much. But the whole time I was thinking I could just be playing Hades a kid. Yeah, like instead of playing this game, this feels like you should just go and buy Hades 1 and 2 and play that. If you're going to make a Hades like, make it compelling. Yeah, it's not compelling yet. Girl edition is better. I like Mystralia more, because it was about some random non-important girl possessed by a book and exploring the world. I don't know who this random voice actor guy is or the space people are, but the sequel should have been another puzzle solving example. Not a poorly written but way too subtly serious voice acting game with none of what gave the rich game is charged. Then so many these add nothing new to them and give you back my wacky spellbringing game. Yes. Like bring me back my spell. Bring back Zia, like bring back, you know, all of this. What's wacky is how a new also, and I take be a good idea. Yeah, it's like a lot of people seem to be of the sentiment that yeah, I got Mystralia is getting a sequel, but I'm gonna miss the complexity of the first one. Yeah, like I said before, they took away the freedoms and the creativity that you had in the first game. But yeah, so here's another one. I missed this one because I was looking through my phone when I was reading through the reviews. I hyped for the game, but I love Mage of Mystralia. It was the first game to have 100% achievement. You know, I love that you make a sequel. I saw the announcement. It really helped me hype me a lot, but there was something that retained my attention and wanted to share. Great story. This one will be open world roguelike, so when you die, you start with Gore again with another power. Also, where is Zia? Also, the game back will be bigger than with possibility to get. So yeah, like, where is Zia? Where is Zia? You know, like, I had so much excitement for the game, and I know that, you know, the game developers probably put a lot of time, love, energy, and effort into, like, this game, but, like, not to be rude or anything, but I don't really give a fuck about Mazarim. I don't give a fuck about this new character. You plop this character that a lot of people coming from the first page is uninterested in. We're already attached to Zia. We're already attached to the rest of the mages. We're already attached to this world of Mystralia, and they completely wiped that clean with the second game. And I just don't understand why they felt the need to do that. Like, you know, like I said before, like, there becomes a question of, you know, what line needs to be drawn between complete, you know, between inspiration and just like copying. And, you know, I'll give an example of another roguelike that I've come across. So this is like another, like I mentioned before, this is like another roguelike game called Going Under. I found out about this game like a couple years ago, and one of like another YouTuber that I watch kind of reminded me of like that this game exists, because like I saw this game and I thought I was interested, and then I forgot about it. And yeah, like I remember that this game exists, and like through briefly looking at like somebody else's playthrough, you can already tell like this game was doing something unique with how they presented the roguelike elements into this game. So, you know, you have like the basic game cutscene. I'm just going to skip through this, and this is how you get out of that cutscene. So let me go back.
Stances. Explore beneath the...
Yeah. And the art style is just super different, super quirky. You know, like they did like a roguelike, but they still managed to make the art style whimsy and fun looking. And they did a unique dialogue. Like the dialogue boxes isn't that like generic. You have like your text box and then you have the portrait at the side, but they did something unique with it. And there's no voice acting in this game. It's just like the whimsical noises, the little boops and bobs that the characters make. And look at the character models. Look at how unique that looks. This is the whimsy that I want in a game. Like, look at it. And this is the game that was made by the same people that made Peak, I believe. So, fun fact. And this is how they introduce, like, the dungeons. They don't straight, like, you still enter the dungeon, like, early on in the game, but they don't immediately, after the cutscene ends, put you straight into it. So, look at that. And so, like, you see the monster, and then it teaches you how. And see, look at the unique text boxes. And then, unlike with Hades or with Echoes of Mystralia, you can use stuff in your environment to, like, as weapons to smack enemies with. And then it kind of has like a Breath of the Wild weapon system where your weapons break. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, you'll have like the main room, and then you have, like, I guess the classic, you have your rooms that have like different icons to show like different abilities or different types of rooms. So yeah, you kind of you just pick up stuff from your environment, and it's randomized each time. So I can see anything in this room can be used as a weapon. So as you can see, you go there, it shows you. So I can see you can pick up weapons from your environment. And you don't get some after you defeat an enemy, an ability pops up after you clear a room. No, you just use what's there in the room to essentially smack enemies over the head with, which I find really fun. This is like the whimsiness that I want, that I like in video games. You know, just... So this is like, I guess, the rooms where you get to choose like your enemies and stuff like that, your skills, I'm guessing. So I guess that's like normal for like roguelikes, but the way that they present it, it's like different. It's like different and unique. And you can use boxes to smack enemies with. Yeah. So you can use chairs, you can use the monitors, you can use the keyboards. Yeah, so that's essentially like different. And of course you'll have like the different randomized rooms that you can go with, like your shops or whatever. Like, I don't know if I would be able to... So this is like the boss room, that's like typical, that's normal. But like, I'm sure if you see gameplays of other people playing Going Under, you'll see like the way that they present the different rooms is like different. It's not a Hades clone. It's different. Yeah, and then instead of like saying, oh, you have to go through the cycle and stuff like that, this, that, and third every time you die, after you die, there's none of that mentioned. You die, you come out, you know. And that's like the second. Yeah. So this is like the cutscene afterward. And the vibe is like different. It's not all serious as it is with Hades or with Echoes. It's different. It's whimsical. It's funny. It's nonsensical. That's what makes this game different. It has, you know, it's a roguelike, but it has its own charm to it. And that's the problem with Echoes of Mystralia. There's whatever charm that was present in the first game, it was wiped clean. And the reason why I'm showing Going Under is because, well, you know, it's not a Hades clone. It's like, to just show as an example that, you know, there are games like that that are actually putting new ideas and new ideas in the genre. I just wanted to show all of these examples just to like really showing all of this just to really show how much of a disappointment Echoes of Mystralia is. You know, the lore that was established in the first game, it seems like I hope they're not retconning it. If they're retconning the lore that was presented in the first game and they were just like redoing everything, I'm not gonna continue to follow the progress of the game anymore if that's what they're doing. Like, I understand if they weren't happy with the game and, you know, like, it's their story, they can do whatever they want with it. But, you know, they haven't really, after the second, after the end of the first game and after they released it on Switch, you know, it was practically radio silence for them. We didn't hear any updates. They stopped updating on their Twitter. And then all of a sudden we started getting updates of the second game. You know, it was, you know, there was no communication from the developers and we're suddenly given the second game. And this second game just feels like a complete downgrade. It feels like a complete betrayal of what the first game was supposed to be, you know? Like, we as the fans waited so many years for the second game to come out, and this is what they managed to give us? Essentially a Hades clone? So, and it's weird because, like, I mean, a lot of people that are playing the game on YouTube, they're saying that they're enjoying it, and they're saying it's like a Hades-like, and perhaps maybe they don't mind if there's like copies of games out in the market, but like perhaps maybe I'm just feeling kind of like kind of exhausted with a lot of cozy games essentially just being copies of each other, not really putting in the charm and whimsy that was brought forth with Animal Crossing and with Stardew Valley. A lot of these cozy slop games are just not really putting in the effort and not really understanding what made these games popular in the first place. So perhaps maybe because of all the sameness in the gaming industry nowadays, people are just accepting that games are just going to be copies of each other, which, I mean, I feel like maybe we shouldn't be doing that. We should be encouraging games to be unique and not be samey all the time. Yes, it might be safer for developers and companies to make money, but like people also value like uniqueness in life and in stuff, new ideas. You know, games aren't really taking risks anymore, which is sad. You know, if you look at back at a lot of older games, and especially within like the Wii era, the DS era, and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of games that were like unique in everything, and it seems like now gaming nowadays just seems to be like has stagnated a bit in terms of like unique ideas. It seems like, and a lot of people playing the second game on YouTube, it seems like they haven't really experienced the first game or don't really understand that it exists. And if they played the first game, you would see that it's completely different from this game. And it has a lot more of the whimsy that a lot of the fan base loved. And so that's why that's why I just feel really disappointed in the second game and everything. And, you know, this doesn't feel like Mystralia. This isn't Mystralia. You know, this doesn't feel, you know, what Mages was supposed to be. You know, um, and yeah, like if you could just take a look at this spell book, like just look at how much freedom you have with this system as compared to like the demo. Like the demo is free, you can play it for yourself. And if you can, I recommend that you buy the first game because you'll have a lot of fun with the first game, I guarantee you. But yeah, um so it wasn't just me that was feeling this way, it was a lot of people who played the first game that expressed that the second game isn't what they expected. It's not like Mystralia. It just feels like, you know, a Hades clone. And yeah, I just feel really disappointed that all this years of waiting for the second game to come out just amounted to basically disappointment. And I don't know, you know, other people have their opinions on this. I'm just sharing my own opinion on how I feel about this game. But, if you haven't played the first game, I recommend that you play the first game because it's really fun. But if you don't mind another Hades clone, then perhaps maybe you can try out this demo and see if you like it. Um, or if you have played the first game and you don't mind the second game, then you can get it if you want. But if you played the first game and you were hoping for like the same spell system that was in the first game, the same whimsiness, the same lore, the characters to be presented, in the second game, like this second game isn't gonna be for you. It seemed like, this was made for like a different audience, which I don't really understand why they would target a different audience instead of sticking to their core audience, because a lot of their core audience seem to like this game. But yeah, this second game is just massive disappointments. So yeah, anyway, guys, that's just me rambling on about, my love for Mages of Australia and my disappointment for Echoes of Australia. Um, then again, if you have your own opinions, leave them in the comment section below, but be nice, Do you think you'll like the second game? Do you think the second game is a disappointment? Would you have preferred that they bring back the whimsiness that was in the first game? Share your opinions down in the comments. But yeah, that's enough of me rambling on um for long enough. Um, anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day slash night slash afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all in the next video, whenever that will be. Bye, everybody.